to order for Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. For the audience here tonight, City of Glendora utilizes a hybrid meeting format that allows for participation both in person and virtually. In consideration of others, please silence phones and refrain from speaking unless recognized. Let the record show that all council members are in attendance. And with that, I'll ask the city attorney to read us into closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. The city council has 4 items on its closed session agenda tonight, but only 3 of them will be discussed. The first will be to conduct the performance evaluation for the position of city attorney and to engage in labor negotiations for the unrepresented employee position. Did I say city attorney? I meant city manager. Yeah. Oops. In both cases, the unrepresented employee and position is city manager. The authority to meet in closed session is Government Code Section 54957 and 54957.6. Closed session agenda item number 3 will not be considered tonight because staff has no additional update information to provide. And lastly, the city council will meet in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 to confer with legal counsel regarding pending litigation to which the city is a party. The title of the litigation is Oliveris versus the City of Glendora and others. Los Angeles County Superior Court case number 23 PSCV 03141. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Bill. With that, I will open public comment on the items on closed session. I see there's no one here in person. Is there anybody on Zoom wishing to speak a public comment?
No, there isn't, Mayor.
Okay, then I will close public comment and recess us into closed session at 5:01.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, participating with us in person or virtually. The city council had 3 items on its closed session agenda tonight. It conducted the annual performance evaluation for the position of city manager. It also engaged in labor negotiations with one unrepresented employee. That position is city manager. The city council also received a privileged and confidential briefing on a recently filed lawsuit entitled Oliveris versus the City of Glendora. No reportable action was taken with respect to the pending litigation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Bill. With that, if I could ask it, everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will open public comment and invite members of the public to address the council. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and tonight is actually, even though it's the same night as what would have been our regular city council meeting, the regular meeting was canceled, and this meeting was convened as a special meeting. So on public comment tonight, any public comment would be limited just to what's on tonight's agenda and no other subjects. So if you're in attendance, please fill out one of the public comment cards and return it to our clerk. If you are on Zoom, use the raised hand icon on your Zoom app, and you'll be recognized. With that opening public comment, do we have any public comment cards from people here in person?
We do not, Mayor.
We don't? Since I just announced it, I want to make sure, is there anybody that wanted to speak? Okay, do we have anyone on Zoom?
No, we do not.
We don't have any. Well, I will close public comment. And we will open our public hearing, to consider ordinance amending section 14.20.010 through 14.20.180 to chapter 14.20 rates and charges of Title 14 water of the Glendora Municipal Code, a resolution establishing water rates and charges. I understand Marie is going to present to us tonight. Welcome, Marie.
Mayor, if I may, just really quick, I know we didn't have any staff updates. Do you mind if we give one really quick?
Well, sure.
John, do you mind coming up? Sorry about that. John wasn't going to be here tonight, but his department received a grant. Just wanted to share a little bit about before we jumped into water rates.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Had great news. Debbie Lopez applied for a grant through the United Way LA. And we just heard this afternoon that we were awarded the grant. This 1-year grant is worth $150,000. The grant is for daytime services at senior centers. The grant funds one-time physical sites and operation upgrades to expand and improve services for the unhoused population using programs and services at our senior center. The grant will be used to upgrade the historic building's kitchen, new partitions for the computer lab, and new carpet. So staff report will be coming to you guys soon, probably in the next meeting. And that's it.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Great job. Okay, Marie, now for the nitty gritty.
All right, the fun part. So unfortunately, Chisholm couldn't be here to finish off his whole campaign that he worked so hard on. But as a gift to Bill, our Public Works Director, it's his birthday today. I gladly stood in his place to give this presentation and bring this to the finish line. So tonight for your consideration is the adoption of the water adjustments to Glendora water rates. And we'll start off with the next slide. So previous actions include starting a focused public education outreach campaign to all our residents. We conducted meetings and in most cases had little to no public participation. And as you can see here, we had about 9 meetings with targeted audiences from Glendora Unified School District, the Glendora Country Club, our businesses, and also our residents. Unfortunately, it's a little bit small, but this is a copy of the required Proposition 218 notice that was mailed to all our property owners at the beginning of October. During this time, the meetings were conducted to clarify any confusion brought on by the notice and to add more information for our residents and businesses. They were also allowed to, or we created a website where they could go on and also calculate what their potential future bills would be as well. As a quick reminder, the proposed rates, the first step was to look at the water consumption thresholds, meaning how much water each individual is using based on their meter size. And you can see the current tier is 2 tiers for water usage. We're moving towards a 4-tier water usage that will incentivize conservation for our residents and businesses. The proposed rates include a change from the readiness to serve charge to be named a meter connection charge. And that's been calculated to fairly distribute the fixed costs associated with maintaining the water system. And the other part of the rate is a consumption charge, which is a combination of the commodity and elevation charges. Currently, we have 2 tiers again, and for zone classes, we're introducing 4 tiers, starting with $1.97 in the bottom tier for the first 12 units, and it incrementally increases in each zone based on your elevation and the size of your meter. So lastly, the recommendation is to conduct a public hearing in compliance with Prop 218 to accept the comments on the proposed water rates and charges. Direct the city clerk to tabulate the results of the protests received from the property owners and announce the findings, and adopt the resolution of the city of Glendora establishing water rates and charges effective January of 2024 and 4 years of phased consumer price index increases thereto, and amending the master schedule of fees to include the approved water rates and charges. And lastly, determine this action is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. That's it.
That's it. Very precise. Thank you, Marie. Okay, with that, I will open the public comment period for the public hearing and invite members of the public to give testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking only on the water rate issue. If you're here in person, you want to speak, please fill out one of the yellow speaker cards. And if you're joining us via Zoom, please use the raised hand icon to be recognized. So do we have any speaker cards from anyone in the audience? Okay, I don't see any. Is there anyone on Zoom using the raised hand icon?
No, there is not, Mayor.
Okay, well then I will close the public comment period and I will bring it back to council for any discussion. Go ahead, Michael.
I don't know if Adam wants to answer this or Marie. The 55 gallons per day per person requirement from the state of California, when is that supposed to go into effect? Pick one.
So the state of California is currently going through all the rules and regulations for external versus external water use right now. In fact, those targets reduce over a period of time, and it's in your staff report. There's a chart that talks about going from 55 to 52.5 to 50 to 48 and some change. So within the next year to 18 months, we'll have the framework for a lot of those rules that are being established. And then the biggest challenge is how cities will be judged, right? Because we don't know. I mean, we know how many people we have, an average, household size, which went into how the rates were established for tier 1 in a lot of cases. So, but really over the next 12 to 18 months, we'll have far more information on how that will be enforced at the state level.
So is it this coming year or the year after, where if you are a commercial business and or municipality that you cannot maintain a greenscape?
The non-functional turf conversation, I think it's effective this year. And we've already sent out notification to all the businesses to let them know based on our review if they could be responsible for that. So Yeah, it's the non-functional turf.
And on the rate increase, where will the funds go? Just normal operations? Will it be for improvements?
So included in the staff report this evening is a chart that talks about the adopted budget and revenues and expenditures. And you'll see the largest gap that we have because of increased water costs and electric costs and consumption and just the cost of water are really the capital aspects. So the reason we go out and do the infrastructure assessment, and really the first one in some 25, 30 years at this magnitude, the most in-depth ever, is to help achieve a higher quality water system with less breaks to ensure that we have continual water access for years to come. So the vast majority of the increase will go towards those capital projects. Not all of them will be pipe in the ground. Some of them are what we call vertical assets, which are pumps and water tanks and other water infrastructure. So, but the vast majority of the increase is all going towards future capital needs.
So I know that there's a misconception out there about who we service on the west side of the city. It's Suburban Water, I believe. So they get
Correct.
confused with Glendora at times. So what I know that a majority of the ratepayers are going to have a decrease in their bill. Do we know what the ratio is between the number of folks that are going to have a decrease and the ones that are going to have an increase?
So as we look at how the water travels is kind of what you're talking about, the 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch meter for the most part. Marie, do you know off the top of your head? It is like 65% or so of the customers will see some either no increase or some decrease in terms of meter numbers, but their actual number of residents and businesses is much more than that.
Great, thank you.
Any other comments, Matt Mendel?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Just maybe 2 or 3 things to ask and maybe a couple of things just to say. Adam, since you're on a roll, when was the last time that we had any sort of rate change? I think the public needs to
Adopted in 2020 for the first part of 21. Is that correct, Marie? January of 21?
So January 21 was the last implementation of a adjustment. So we haven't had any rate increases since then.
Okay. And I think it's important to note that SCE, not to throw them under the bus, but SCE has in the last couple of years raised rates by 15%. And I think that's important for people to know, because a lot of us think, well, when it rains, the water is just here, but water has to be pumped to various points. And electric pumps are what makes that occur. So we've been absorbing those kind of fees during the last couple of years. And that is part of why we've embarked on this. Would that be a fair statement to make?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, and I would just add to that, the cost of construction is, as we all know, has gone through the roof. And so just using CPI locally as an example, I mean, our costs have increased more than 25%, and we haven't increased rates, especially following COVID. City felt it was important to try to maintain those costs for as long as possible, but Metropolitan Water went up, 25% over since our last rate increase, the cost of water?
Yes, and over the last 2 years, CPI has been 13%.
Yeah. So I think that's really important to, talk about. We also, within our city, we have a water board, and I believe 4 or maybe 3 of the 5 are skilled water people. That's what they do. That's what they have done. And wouldn't it be safe to say that they've taken a very specific look at what the study was, and they've debated this prior to it coming to us? Could you kind of enlighten maybe the public on what their role's been?
So we presented the rates to them for their review, both as a board and individually, so that they can have conversations and review not only what the rates are going to be, but the structure of it as well. Looking at both the fixed charges, the commodity rates, but also future capital improvement projects, looking at the assessment report and determining whether some of the projects proposed, which was originally $130 million worth of improvements, and paring that down to something that would be more affordable, that we could phase into our residents and consumers, but also something that the system can handle. We didn't want to fix everything all at once and then be in the same situation we're in today, where you have 20 years again, and you have to fix $130 million. So phasing that all in, getting their input and making sure we're following best practices, and also making it affordable, but being very efficient and effective as much as we could. So they had a lot of great input as previous general managers and engineers of water districts that helped us on our path as well.
Yeah, and I think public needs to understand that this has not just happened. It hasn't just landed on our desk, but skilled people who have worked and are very skilled within the water world have looked at this, and they live here. I mean, they have skin in the game, so to speak. And I think that we have looked at them, relied upon them to help guide us. I guess my last point would be that we often see leaks. I bet there's not one person in this room that has not been around this city for more than a month, maybe two months. I'll give you that. Oh, another leak. Those famous words. Oh, another leak. Well, now you're going to help me here, but we've all been a party of hearing this scenario for several months now. And I believe as of June, we had 350 leaks. Is that about right?
The exact number escapes me. It is in the multiple hundreds, and we're on pace for the most leaks fixed ever in the city's history since we've been keeping track.
Right. So that's the point, that we've got to spend to fix leaks. We have 220 some miles of pipe, some of which are as old as Gary and I, and that's old. Pushing like 70 years. And there's earthquakes, and there's trucks and buses and cars, and the earth moves, and so a lot of this has come about because it's caught up to us. And I think that people need to understand that we will continue to have leaks because that's just life. But hopefully a lot of this will enable us to fix those leaks in a more a permanent way. And that is something that's really important. So no one likes this, but it's something that we all have to live with. And thank you for an excellent job, and thank you for the staff for the work that you've done to analyze it, look at things, and make sure that we're doing it right. So thank you.
Thanks, Mendel. Anything on this side, David?
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to echo and applaud the 2-year plus effort to get this information and to do it to the robust manner it is. And to echo what Mr. Thompson was sharing, it's not just a rate increase, it's an investment in our system. But to many of us, go into that website QR code and check your own address. You might be surprised that you might see a little reduction. And then conservation always helps that. But look at it as has been said, we're investing in the future of our system, not paying for more water. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, David. Anything else?
Just thank you very much to you and to Chisholm for the presentations you've done to us, and the community outreach has been exemplary. And all the time that I've been on the council, this is the best rate structure that there has been. It's the easiest to understand, I think, for the consumer, and also the fairest. So thank you very much for that, and look forward to investing into our future water structure.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Adam, Marie?
Tabulate the protest.
Yep. Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public testimony and then turn it over to our city clerk, Kathleen Sussman, to tabulate the votes.
Thank you, Mayor Boyer. At this time, I'd like to announce that 24 protest ballots were received, which does not meet the required majority protest. Therefore, at this time, I request that the city council adopt resolution establishing water rates and charges effective January 2024 and 4 years of phase consumer index price index increases thereto, and amend the master fee schedule to include the approved water rates and charges. 2, determine this action is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to sections 15060 C2 and C3 of the CEQA guidelines. And 3, conduct first reading and introduction of ordinance of the city council amending sections 14.20.010 through 14.20.180 to chapter 14.2 rates and charges of this Title 14 Water of the Glendora Municipal Code. Can I request a motion?
So I'll second it.
Okay, so I have a motion made by Councilmember Friedenau and seconded by Councilmember Davis. Now I will conduct a roll call. Councilmember Elwes,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedenau,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor Boyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kathleen. We'll move on to our consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless anyone wants to pull anything. Is there anything to pull?
No, I'll move consent items 7 through 8.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Alowitz, second by Councilmember Thompson. I will now conduct a roll call. Councilmember Alowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedenau.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Thompson.
Yes.
Mayor Boyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item number 9, to approve a professional services agreement with SDI Presence for citywide information technology services for a 3-year term commencing at the initial cost of $508,000, $508,860 for 1 year, with a subsequent 3% annual increase not to exceed a total of $1.6 million. And invite Administrative Assistant Katie Dang.
Good evening, Mayor.
Welcome.
Good evening, council members. So do I have the? Oh. The item before you is an SDA contract for temporary employee staffing for the IT department. Here's a brief overview of what SDI has been providing. They have been providing their services to the city since May 2022 to help fill the vacancies in the IT department. They have helped the city with multiple projects using their extensive resources, experience in city infrastructure, public safety, and customer service. They have also provided day-to-day help desk assistance as well as support in the system administration throughout all city departments. Some of the key elements they have helped the city with is customer service improvements. Before SDI, the city's help desk accumulated a high volume of unresolved ticket requests. There were roughly 100 tickets in our backlog. Upon SDI's arrival, their technicians resolved the backlog by providing technical support and troubleshooting issues for end users. They are able to maintain an average daily ticket of 10, which is a 90% reduction in daily help desk tickets. Some of the hardware and software improvements include updating and improving the public safety IT infrastructure for dispatch, installing emergency battery backup equipment for continued services in the event of a power outage, replacing and implementing a single server infrastructure, saving the city over $100,000, upgrading server operating systems that were over 5 years old, assisting the police department in completing various projects such as adding network resources, setting up e-subpoena systems, creating and implementing recap reports, completing a multi-year project for the LiveScan interface, and adding mapping points to various locations throughout the city for public safety and dispatch. Some future projects we have planned for SDI is their assistance in maintaining daily operations by completing service tickets across the organization, migrating the city's on-premises server infrastructure to a hosted cloud environment, help mitigate and respond to cybersecurity threats, design and build new off-site backup system, multiple system migrations and updates, assist in the digitization of the city's documents to a content management system, and improve the city's security posture. This contract will continue our partnership over the next 3 years to continue high-level customer service for the city's help desk and help to complete the city's major hardware and software projects, providing improvements for Glendora's residents and staff. There is initial cost of $508,860 for year one, with a subsequent 3% annual increase, not to exceed $1.6 million for the 3-year term of the agreement. The 3-year contract will include 2 full-time staff members to assist with help desk operations, 1 full-time systems administrator to assist with server migrations and security, and the contract also allows for additional resources available to the city if needed. It is staff's recommendation to approve SCI's 3-year contract for IT services and staff. And that's all.
Here for any questions.
Oh, you're coming up for questions. Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Thank you very much for a very thorough report, Katie. Council, for any questions, discussion? Everybody understands this stuff? All right. In that case, I guess there's no questions. Sam, anything to add?
I mean, they've been tremendous in helping us with our overall ticketing systems, or our ticketing count throughout the entire city. So this partnership is just going to continue going and providing the city with great customer service and help with our projects in the future.
No, we have definitely noticed a huge improvement over the last year and a half or so. So it definitely been beneficial to us. So
I'll move recommendations 1
looking for
through
a
2.
motion.
1 and 2.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion made by Councilmember Alois, seconded by Councilmember Thompson. I will now conduct oral roll call. Councilmember Alois.
Yes.
Councilmember Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedenau.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Thompson.
Yes.
Mayor Boyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to add? Then we are adjourned at 7:27.